Hi there, my name is Conor Brooke and welcome to my channel. This is a film review of Fright Night, a horror, came out in 1985, it's rated 18, Amazon is an hour and 42 minutes, IMDb is an hour and 46 minutes, and I watched the DVD and it's an hour and 42 minutes, so I don't know where that extra 4 minutes goes from. Amazon is 4.6 out of 5, IMDb is 7.1 out of 10. I'll read both synopses plus the DVD. So, Amazon is Chris Sarandon and Roddy McDowall star in a goosebump-inducing ride into the search to prove a teenager's neighbour is a vampire. IMDb is Fright Night sees a teenager believing that the newcomer in his neighbourhood is a vampire. He turns to an actor in a television-hosted horror movie show for help to deal with the undead. And the DVD. Charlie Brewster is a normal American teenager whose mother thinks he watches too many late-night horror films. Charlie's life is pretty uneventful, until he becomes convinced that his suave yet sinister neighbour, Jerry Dandridge, is a vampire. No one, least of all the police, will believe that Dandridge is the vicious killer responsible for a spate of bizarre murders. Charlie finds an ally in Peter Vincent, a former horror film star and host of TV's Fright Night Theatre, in his quest to nail the debonair bloodsucker. But then the nightmare really begins. So the director is Tom Holland, who directed Psycho 2. Producer is Herb Jaffe, Jaffe, who produced Time After Time. Music was by Brad Fiedel, Fiedel, who did the music for Terminator Genisys. He did the Terminator theme. The cast, well, we have Chris Sarandon, who was Jerry Dandridge, who was also in Safe as Mayor Tremello. William Ragsdale, who was Charlie Brewster. He's been in Justified, the series, as Gary Hawkins. Amanda Bearse, Bearse, who was Amy Peterson. She was in Married with Children as Marcy Darcy. Roddy McDowall, who was Peter Vincent, and he's been in Conquest of the Planet of the Apes as Caesar. Stephen Jeffries, who was Evil Ed, who was in Moon 44 as Cookie. And Jonathan Stark, who was Billy Cole, he was in House 2 as Charlie, believe it or not. It was filmed in California, USA, and it's known as Dracula Lovers Night of Horror. So this is one of my favourite films, so yeah, I'm going to go with it. Here we go. So it's literally at the start, Charlie's watching a film. We can kind of hear it's a film. It's because like the camera's panning around the neighbourhood, looking at all the houses and stuff like this, and you can hear the horror. And it's not a typical modern horror. It's like the cheesy films, not the ones that I normally review. not these ones. So it's one of those cheesy horror films. And strange enough, the credits are coming up, and Roddy McDowall, who's Peter Vincent, gets the last billing in the starting credits, which is bizarre because he's in it for quite a lot of the film. But there you go. I suppose maybe he didn't get paid enough. So you're a kid in your room, right? You look out the window, and you see two guys carrying a coffin. Well, that's okay, I suppose. But then you grab binoculars within seconds to look out the window. Why is it there within reach, late at night? Yeah. Nothing sinister about that at all. And then he's studying trigonometry. Yeah, one of the most pointless of maths, like transposition. I used to hate transposition. I don't know why we did it. Waste of bloody time. Don't use that ever in any of your stuff that you do. None of the math stuff you use. Use a calculator. Charlie has a nice car. I said it's like a Mustang type thing. I don't think it's a Mustang, but I don't know American cars. But it looks like a really nice car. A bit patchy, but there you go. It's quite nice. So the music, as he sees his neighbour, is quite good. In fact, the music through the entire film is very good. So he's obviously, he says that he's telling the police and stuff. So he's told the detective that the guy's a vampire. So it went down as well as expected. You can imagine if you tell your local cop, you know, there's this dodgy guy here, so you go and investigate here, and then you say he's a vampire. I'm surprised, you know. They didn't end up in an insane asylum, but you know, that's back then, I suppose. So he's dashed to his mate Evil Ed. It kind of looks like he's into metal, but he knows all about vampires. So, because apparently that's what it is. If you're into heavy metal, you know about vampires. And he says the best protection, he says, is that a vampire cannot enter a house unless invited by the rightful owner. Cue home, and guess who Mum was invited around? Because he's like, oh, is that true? He says, yes, guaranteed. If the rightful owner does not invite a vampire in, he can't enter the house. I thought, I'm pretty sure I've seen Dracula with Christopher Lee, and he just waltzes into the house. Pretty sure he's never been invited. Otherwise, how would he kill people? The old way of changing the face. So in modern day horror films, it's all CGI or special effects or whatever. It can be just, it's a special way of doing it. But the old school way was, so Charlie's looking at the vampire in front of him, sees the face, and then you flip back to Charlie, right, and then you go back to the vampire, and it looks a little bit different. It's starting to change, and then the vamp turns around, and then you flip back to Charlie, and then you flip back to the vampire, and his face is changing again. It's just like, yeah, it's the old school, you know. It does happen. It happens a couple of times, and it's just like, whereas now it will just change. Amy and Evil Ed are trying to stop Charlie going over there and killing him with a stake. Amy says, what happens if he gets you? Who will stop them then? And then Evil says, looking out the window, yeah, he can suck his way through this town. There won't be much of a loss. And I thought it's just so funny when he's poking his eyes out. I was like, yeah. Not his eyes out, but looked out the window. The nightclub scene. The nightclub scene's really good. It's great music. It draws you in. And it's 80s. So the dress sense and the dancing is awesome. And the music that kicks in when Danbridge walks in is great. So the whole music is really good because it's typical 80s kind of music. But then when he walks and he's like seeing Amy, the music is just, I love it. They're not the music when they're dancing and stuff, so I thought that was a bit pissy, but the other bit when he was moving around, it was brilliant. I've got to find the soundtrack. I'm pretty sure I should have had it by now, but I don't have it. There's an interesting time when he becomes a bat. Times it's not like the typical fruit bat that we kind of see, you know, the old small little dinky thing, but a full-blown demon-sized thing. It's quite large. And Amy as a vampire is pretty good, you know, teeth and whatnot. It's pretty impressive how they did that. But yeah, I love the ending. And the end credit music has a song called Fight Night. Fight Night. Sorry. But like I say, I need the soundtrack. The music overall was great. Old school special effects, great story, acting, and of course I'm biased, so it's a 9. I'm giving it 9 out of 10 because I'm biased. But I really like the film. It's a good one. There is a sequel to the original. I found out. I don't know where I can get it from, but I'll have a look. And of course there is the remake. Yes, I will watch it eventually, even though apparently it got a bit of a slating. But I'm just going to ignore that and pretend it's a new film I've never seen before. But yeah, anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed watching and listening to this film review of Fright Night. Give me your thumbs up if you like this video. Leave a comment in the comment box below. Have you seen this? Did you like it? Or did you find it corny? I don't know. Remember, it's the 80s, so you know, this was how it was back then. They didn't have the special effects that we have nowadays. Yeah. Okay, well, thank you for watching and goodbye.